Okay, I've played a couple Dragon Quest games before, and the last one I played, which was Dragon Quest VII, just left a bad taste in my mouth. By the end of it, I just lost all interest in continuing to play. The stories were starting to all become samey, the gameplay didn't really evolve, and it appeared that all of the different stories were pretty much self-contained, and they honestly had lost my interest. I was really looking forward to them playing into the bigger overall story, and I don't know, it didn't jive with me. So when Dragon Quest XI was announced, I ended up passing on it. I mean, it also didn't help that at the time I had so many other games to play that I just let it slip right on by, and then I just kind of forgot about it. Now the game has reemerged, this time on the Nintendo Switch. With the extra features added into this version, the appealing aspect to have this game on a portable platform, and a lengthy demo that really showcased the game, I finally dove in, and boy, I am glad I did. As far as gameplay, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. Turn-based battles with the illusion of free roaming, upgrading characters' skills, though I do appreciate the little details within the upgrading system, such as the shapes the skill blocks form, and there are side quests galore. So on top of these pretty standard JRPG elements, the turn-based battles, the exploration, again, all extremely well done, very solid, just nothing that is crazy out of the ordinary. They've added some really cool features in this version, to my knowledge, are not in the original. One I'm not entirely sure on is the zoom, so fast travel, the horse hailer, where you could call your horse from anywhere on the map and travel that way. You can use the fun size forge wherever you want, not just at campsites, and Eric has a special ability where he can basically sniff out treasure in an area. Now, he doesn't tell you where that treasure is, but it says, hey, you have this many left in this area. And these are all very welcome additions, very cool additions. These aren't bad at all. They're really good, but they aren't really anything groundbreaking. They're just fine. They're really good additions. They're good content. However, where Dragon Quest XI-S shines are in the extra features, the art direction, the revamped music, and the characters. First, being able to switch between old school 2D gameplay to modern 3D gameplay is just fantastic. I mean, honestly, these can be two completely separate playthroughs. They're the same story with the same locations, but they just feel like two totally different games, thanks to the layout, like how the 2D is laid out versus how the 3D was made. And it is just great. Switching between the two styles can be done at a church and almost seems like you're restarting the software, but in the mode you're choosing. It's a bit of a bummer that it can't be done on the fly, but honestly, I get why they did this, and it is a very minor complaint. The art style is just wonderful, and it is able to make a great transition to the Switch. Playing between the TV and handheld mode is a very smooth transition, and for me, a game like this needs to have good handheld gameplay and visuals. I'm happy to report it is excellent in both. Playing these long games is so much more manageable when I'm able to play a little while lying in bed, or while my family uses the TV for something else. Aside from how it runs technically, the game is just great to look at. Vibrant colors fill each area of the world, the art direction as a whole is just excellent, the monster designs and animations are wonderful to watch, and the areas themselves are great. I just can't overstate how nice this game looks. What is as good, if not a little bit better quality, is the music. The music that was in the original release of Dragon Quest XI was, well, it didn't sound very good. The MIDI tracks were just not good, and I don't know, they just didn't, all the gameplay that I had seen, it just didn't fit. It was really odd. But thankfully, the soundtrack has been re-recorded as live orchestral arrangements, and whew, it is quite the difference. Now, you have the option in Dragon Quest XI to switch between the MIDI tracks and the orchestral ones. And let's just say I only briefly switched to the MIDI tracks to compare them to the orchestral. I will never be switching back to the MIDIs. The arrangements themselves are top-notch too. I mean, just listen to these tracks. Thanks to incredibly varied storylines ranging from just outright fun to serious subject matter and everything in between, voice acting that is just enough over the top to be entertaining without being too ridiculous, and such interesting personalities, the characters in this game are incredibly memorable. I became extremely invested in these characters, as well as all the people I interacted with throughout the main storyline. This resulted in my excitement every time I traveled to a new area. What new characters would I come across? What would this new area look like? What story would unfold, and what would be my part in it? I wanted to keep finding out what was next, even after hours and hours of gameplay. I really enjoyed Dragon Quest XI's, and I can foresee myself doing a whole other playthrough in the future while playing in just the 2D style. If you're looking for a JRPG with an excellent art style, stories and characters that are engrossing, and if you're like me, someone who is much more prone to play through a long game like this, given the option of portability, I can't suggest Dragon Quest XI's enough. And hey, I'd say that even if you aren't really into JRPGs, this might be a good entry point. It was never too difficult, and it was never really too easy either. There was light leveling up and grinding, and the characters are just so darn memorable. Dragon Quest XI's is an excellent port of an excellent game.